Men of Reddit. What about women leaves you completely baffled? One bag of peanut butter M&Ms will change my wife from wanting to stab me to being a loving and pleasant woman to be around, in the span of about 2 minutes. I have secret stashes of Butterfingers around my house for when my girlfriend gets slightly irritated. It's become a running joke now. She'll be playing Xbox and get annoyed at something and start swearing, and out of nowhere a Butterfinger will land in her lap from across the house and she'll just start laughing. Whatever you do, don't keep track of the times that she doesn't need Butterfingers versus when she needs more Butterfingers than usual. Definitely don't use that information to forecast when you will need extra Butterfingers on hand. I hate that. The loud gasp while I'm driving about something small lol. Like, do you want me to roll the car lol? Driving as a teenager less than a week after getting my license, I nearly crashed the car because my mom let out the most shocked and frightened sounding gasp at a tree that had its leaves changing colors and it looked really pretty. How some women can shave their legs super fast. If I shaved any part of my body that quickly I would look like Hellraiser. I one time wanted to shave the nether regions and I finished shaving in 5 minutes and it looked like someone dared me to stuff a porcupine in my pants. That reminds me of the time that someone dared me to stuff a porcupine in my pants. When we are hanging out having casual conversation, then her phone rings. She answers, and the pitch of her voice rises to Mariah Carey status. I'm a dude and I raise the tone of my voice when I answer the phone at work to sound more friendly, but I lower the tone of my voice when I answer my own phone because I think it makes me sound cooler. Where do they hide their bathroom closet? Third drawer from the left. Don't tell them, damn it. I have already gotten it stolen 3 times. One day my girlfriend was mad at me and I didn't know why. It turned out she dreamed that I cheated on her. I later shared this story with a couple of my guy friends and they said they'd had the same experience. Yup, my wife had a dream that I took her and our kids on a vacation to Italy. One morning we were getting ready, and I told her I was leaving her for some woman and just walked out, leaving them stranded in Rome. She was pissed for days. Literally days. I finally asked if she knew that it was just a dream and that I'd never take our kids to Italy. That joke didn't go over too well. I fly to Rome on Wednesday. Can you ask your wife for some things I should do? I could have my wife prep up 30 minutes or even 2 hours early for a morning appointment and we'd still manage to somehow be 15 minutes late for it. I'm usually half an hour early. My boyfriend is the late one. Oh god, yes. I am ready to go, trying to get out the door, and my boyfriend is slowly meandering around the apartment getting ready, basically putting it off until the last possible second. We are never late, but I like to be early, so it is stressful. How some women can remember the exact details of an argument we had 8 months ago but somehow can't remember where they parked their car at the mall less than an hour ago. Priorities, my friend. Pairing up to go to a public toilet. We need to have important discussions. You talk in a bathroom. Their aesthetic sense. How did they all become armchair interior decorators, fashion consultants? My 9-year-old daughter is better at picking out my outfits than I am, monsieur. Being given dress-up games to play since the age of 2 or 3, and getting called out on bad fashion sense as a teenager. Well, I too was called out on bad fashion sense, and that didn't help me at all. I am still as ugly as ever. This has only happened with 2 to 3 women tops, telling me to do something and then getting upset with me when I do it. I'm on the autism spectrum, so there could have been subtext that went completely over my head, but I don't think that can explain every time this happened. Fine then. Go out with your friends instead. See if I even care. Oh, okay. Giving me directions as we drive. Female. See that turn up there? The next one? Me. Okay. Female. Don't take that one. Why in the did you feel the need to point out a turn we didn't need to take? Turn right, here. Points to a turn I am already driving past at 60 kilometers per hour, and that was never mentioned before this very moment. This sounds more like my husband's directions than mine. I'm more likely to tell him there's a turn coming up super far in advance so I know he won't miss it. He'll be looking at his phone, sleeping, or just generally not paying attention and tell me to turn just as there is no longer any possible way for me to make it. I refuse to let him give directions anymore, especially since I have to drive everywhere. I've had several women give me their number without me asking, but then when I text or call, they never reply. Why do this? I like when a woman makes the first move, but it still usually turns out to be nothing. Felt brave in the moment, then the panic and dread set in later. Why do women remain friends with women they hate? Usually because friendship groups can get quite tight, and often rocking the boat with that one person you hate can be more trouble than it's worth. I don't think there are many people hanging out with people they hate one-on-one with any regularity. How is it that bobby pin companies don't rule the world? I swear the average woman must go through more bobby pins in a lifetime than oxygen. I dunno, I go through more hair teas. I'm confused by this. I'm a guy that uses hair teas daily. Yet I've had the same pack of 20 for around 3 years now. The hair tea I'm currently using must be around 3 months in. How do you use so many? They can carry other humans inside of them if you think about it. Wild. Not only carry them, grow them inside of their body. Better than outside, I suppose. Haircuts. This is a huge generalization, but most women's haircuts look exactly the same to me, yet cost a ridiculous amount. As a guy who went from short hair to shoulder-length hair for a couple of years, long hair is so much harder to keep in good shape and needs much more attention and thought behind it than it seems. Short hair is kind of easy to keep undamaged because you often cut it before the damage can be seen. How most of them can think it's healthy to go through life thinking, if that cute guy the first really want to ask me out doesn't ask me out, then he's not worth my time. I've never understood this. Why don't women ask guys out? I know it's an ingrained thing from the past to some extent, but come on, it's 2020. It's because we are taught to make guys chase us, otherwise they will not want us. Like, and that's stupid. If she is easy, she is not worth it, and if she is worth it, it won't be easy. Quote. I am sure I just misquoted it by the way, but you get the gist. Edit. Typo. How to read their signals. I'm so bad at it a lot of times. For example, here is a copy-paste from another thread of a situation I found myself that left me baffled. And GT. My sophomore year of high school, I had a couple of classes with this girl I had a crush on. Because teachers loved using alphabetical order there, she and I ended up sitting next to each other in those classes. We start passing notes in those classes, talking about random stuff and being a bit flirty. And GT. One day I decide to get the courage to ask if she wanted to go out with me to a movie or something. So, I ask her out in one of our notes. She replies saying that she's really sorry but she doesn't like me in that type of way. I was devastated, of course, but I also liked her as a friend and didn't want to lose that. So I replied saying that was okay and asking if we could just forget I asked and keep things the way they were because class would be so boring without our talks. She said yeah, that was fine, and we stayed note buddies throughout the year. And GT. Fast forward to my senior year. I had to repeat algebra because I fucked up really badly my junior year due to some personal issues. I'm in a class with a bunch of people the grade under me, and I get seated next to this girl named Kate that I thought was so pretty. Like with the other girl, we ended up passing notes to each other in class, and I come to find out not only did I find her physically attractive, but she was also a really awesome person with similar interests. And GT, I really liked this girl and crushed hard on her throughout the year. I would make her mix CDs that she would tell me she loved, and she even made me one a couple of times. I'd share with her stories I wrote and also art I was working on. The best part of my day was getting to talk with her during homeroom algebra, but I was scared of even trying to ask her out because of how I misinterpreted things last time. So I never did. Came really close a couple of times, but never did. And GT. A year and a half after I graduated, I'm dating a girl from the same class as as her, who had been a friend of mine for a couple of years. We're hanging out with this other girl who was also in my math class, and she brings up Kate and asks why we never dated. I told her I didn't think she thought of me that way, and she was like, "Are you kidding me? She was so into you." And GT. At that time it didn't really matter anymore because I was in a relationship and there was nothing I could do about it, but it did frustrate just how bad I was at reading signals. I mean, I'm still pretty bad at it, but I wish I had at least tried with Kate. I once had a girl let me know that she was not into me, then message me and directly asked to go on a date with me a few days later, and then ghost me. What? Lol. I'm gonna guess she wanted you to chase her and was trying to play hard to get. In my experience, that immediately makes someone hard to want. Ending a relationship because we never fight. I'm a guy, but I kinda understand that one. It shouldn't end a relationship, but it can be a cause for concern. A friend of mine years ago was worried that something seemed off because her and the guy she had been dating for about a year never had any kind of disagreement or argument. So she was worried that he might be just biting his tongue, bottling up what he really feels, and that it might explode into a bigger thing later down the road. From personal experience, having disagreements or the odd argument is actually a healthy thing. It gives you both an opportunity to let your feelings out, and you'll know where you both stand on numerous different things. I don't necessarily think your take is completely wrong, but I don't think that every relationship needs to have fights in order to be successful. Disagreements are one thing. You probably should disagree on certain things every now and then, but that doesn't mean the disagreement needs to escalate to a fight. My longest, most successful relationship only had like maybe one fight. It wasn't because we never disagreed with each other, we were both just very pragmatic and didn't get emotional easily. So instead of having a "what the is wrong with you" knockdown drag out fight, it'd be a "okay, we're both upset right now, let's sit down and figure this out together" kind of thing. Again, we disagreed about all kinds of things, but we just never felt the need to have a real fight about it. Never having a disagreement or argument probably isn't healthy. That means someone is keeping something bottled up. But I think it's perfectly healthy if you're able to not let things escalate to an all-out fight in a relationship. This girl I was talking to all semester said she didn't want to date. Then things ended because she wanted to date me and I never asked her out, after she already said she didn't want to date. Women are not a monolith. They all confuse for different reasons as much as men confuse them for different reasons. The only woman I can speak with any certainty about is my wife. After 30 years of marriage, she certainly baffles me frequently, mainly about money. She has some weird ideas about money, and how to manage it. We haven't been even late on a bill for over 30 years. We have some savings. We both have decent, stable jobs and good health insurance. And to hear her talk, we are on the razor's edge of destitution.